Hello, everybody. This is the Iceman. Interviews with the Iceman. Real excited today, man. I have a great guy, lot going on, as you'll hear. This is my buddy, Ryan Daniel. Ryan, how are you?
Good, man. How's it going?
It's going good, going busy. And, I got to say this because I know we met up a few times in Nashville, and I came by your place. Man, you got so much going on. I admire how hard you were working. I mean, having the stuff set up right at the house and the practice and the stuff you have going in, man, I'll tell you, real impressive. And let us know, what's going on? I know we're going to get into a couple of special things in the interview, but what else have you had going on in the last month or so?
Well, man, I appreciate the kind words anyway, but, it's just a lot. In this business, you have to work, and you can't let moss grow under your feet. So, me, I stay real busy. But I ended up signing a management contract with Integrity Music Management, and it's been fantastic with Kelly and David up there, just doing great things for me. We've had my album playing in all the Tractor Supply stores across the nation now.
Wow.
So that's been cool. And just really been writing and getting ready for my next album. And, this single happened, and it was kind of a on a whim thing, if you will, just meeting certain people, and timing was right, and the good Lord came together, and that's kind of what we've been doing, just getting ready for the single. And now, of course, I picked up a brand new sponsor, Stringer Performance, with Doug Stringer and family.
Mm-hmm.
A great sponsor. It fits well with country music. Obviously, they sponsor Clay Milliken's dragster and his Top Fuel dragster, 6-time champion, also a good buddy of mine. We golf together. And so they came on board and wanted to get into this country music thing and just loved what I had going on. And they came on board and have really made some things happen for me and opened a lot of major doors for me in my career.
Wow. I mean, you deserve it. Like I said, man, you're working your tail off. I see that every day. And tell me a little bit about the background. I mean, where you came from, what you accomplished as far as personal before you got into music.
Well, I'm a military brat.
Right.
So my father is retired Air Force. My grandfather was in the Air Force. And it just seemed like a path for me. After high school, it was, kind of let's join the Air Force. And so I served in the Air Force for right at 10 years. I had the distinct pleasure of getting to tour with the Air Force premier group, Tops and Blue. And they're a great entertainment group, and we got to tour all around the world. We did like 125 shows, and it was fantastic. And through that, I actually met my producer, Barry Best, and he asked me what I was doing when I got out of the Air Force. And I said, well, I don't know if I'm going to get out at this point. And he said, well, you should. You need to be a country recording artist.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did. I made the leap of faith at the 10-year mark. So I got a little bit of a late start. But, I kind of just compare myself to a Craig Morgan kind of deal,
Right.
Love him. And so I got out and started pursuing the music thing. And we ended up recording my first album, Love, Life, and Memories, which continues to do well. We won Album of the Year with it last year, and actually had Country Song of the Year with it off of a song, Love Lives On. And, from there, it just kind of started touring and started doing more things. And then the end of last year, I went overseas again and got to tour with the troops and spent 6 weeks overseas. And it was the coolest thing I've ever done. As an artist, you always want to, at least for me, you want to go support your troops, and because I was a troop myself.
Right.
And so to be over there at the forward operating bases and getting to perform a show for them and just bring a little piece of home to them was fantastic.
Wow.
So we got back, and that's kind of what I've been doing since then. Just digging, just digging every day.
Right. And you, I know you played for the soldiers. You did a tour of the military bases, didn't you?
I did. We did. Before I went overseas, I ended up doing about 45 bases. And it was something I put together myself and went around the bases and just performed like an acoustic show. And that was a stateside deal. and it was fantastic. It was another great opportunity. I still perform for the bases. I have another show coming up May 1st in Millington, Tennessee,
Wow.
at the Navy base.
Wow.
And it's going to be great. Get to perform for the troops there. It's just a lot of stuff going on. Putting our tour dates together now, and it's just been fun. It's finally all the hard work's finally paying off. You know,
Right.
and that's the biggest thing that for me is what's exciting is I see all the hard work that I put in, and it's finally going somewhere,
Right.
and that's a cool feeling.
Right, and I actually saw that even from the beginning when we first got acclimated with one another and just saw the progress that you've been making, and then even with the new venture and the new song that we'll be talking about, just from you talking about it from the beginning and just watching over time things progress where they are, and then it was great this morning looking on Facebook watching you take those CDs out of the box that's finally there.
Yeah.
It's so great to see things like that happen. We're going to play a song and a couple from the Love, Life, and Memories CD. It's actually the first song of yours I ever played. And tell us a little about it. Honky Tonk Holiday.
Wow. There's actually a funny story about that song. We ended up getting it from a great friend of my producers who said, Ryan, this would fit you. And we heard the song, and I loved the lyrics. And I really dug the song, and my producer Barry is a complete genius. He really is. And we took it on, and throughout the whole album process, you got songs you're listening to, and you're trying to put together the best album. And we kind of wanted to theme this album with the album name of Love, Life, and Memories. And Honky Tonk Holiday actually almost didn't make the cut.
Right.
And that's the funny part, and it ended up making it, and we thought it was a great song and all that stuff, and we put it on the album, and come to find out, it ended up being one of the most popular songs on the album. We ended up, as soon as we released the album, it went number one on the indie charts, and we were like, wow. So, for a song that we thought was a great song, but maybe not the strongest on the album, ended up being the strongest on the album.
Right.
And that's kind of how the song came about, and people still love it. We play it, and they get up and line dance, and it's one of our favorite songs to play in a show.
Well, we're going to play it now, so maybe the people listening at home going to get up and start line dancing. This is the Iceman, Ryan Daniel, Honky Tonk Holiday.
I got the overtime assembly line, put me out of my misery blues. I need some R&R at the BAR to readjust my attitude. Little paper umbrellas transform the willows into a tropical isle. Tonight I lay in the sand, get a fluorescent tan under a Bud Light neon sign. Gonna take a honky-tonk holiday. No hurricane all plane. I've got a barstool reservation for an on-the-way home vacation. When the whistle blows quitting time, it's Aloha paradise. Gonna take an overworked, underpaid honky-tonk holiday. I'm in a walk on the beach, South Sea breeze, bikini watching the state of mind. I'm seeing hula girls and mini grass skirts dancing down the assembly line. In a few minutes more, I'm out the door. This overtime's taking its toll. Tonight is luau night. It's time to unwind in the comfort of climate control. Gonna take a honky-tonk holiday. No work and all play. I've got a barstool reservation for an all-the-way home vacation. And when the whistle blows quitting time, it's Aloha paradise. Gonna take an overworked, underpaid honky-tonk holiday.
Interviews with the Iceman. Iceman here with Ryan Daniel. Just heard his song Honky Tonk Holiday. Ryan, a quick question. What instruments do you play?
This is funny. I can play guitar a tiny bit.
Right.
And that's probably pretty rare for a country artist. Usually they can get up there and play guitar. I can play a couple of chords. I don't like to play guitar on stage because I'm one of those Garth Brooks kind of guys that likes to go all over the place, climb speaker stacks and run out the crowd, and it just gets in my way. But actually, I'm a drummer by trade.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and so I played drums all through middle school and high school. I actually started playing drums when I was 7. And I actually recorded the drum tracks on one of the songs on my album.
Oh, wow.
And so it was very cool to be in the studio and get to say that I recorded the drum tracks on the song I Remember. And I actually played drums in my show during one of the songs.
Wow, okay.
So, yeah,
cool.
It's kind of a cool thing to go back behind the set. And usually the crowd's like, wow, it's kind of rare to see that, at least for a country artist to do that. And we go back there and jam out for about 3 or 4 minutes.
Nice.
So it's pretty fun.
Now, do you remember the first song you ever wrote?
Oh, my gosh. That's a long question. Actually, I think the first song I ever wrote was probably a song called You. And it's actually, sneak peek, it's actually going to be on my next album coming up.
Wow.
And so we kind of went back in the archives and was look at some things I wrote, and we were dabbling with it. And I said, this would be a great song. And, we went back in and made some tweaks to it. As a songwriter, some of this, I would say most of the stuff you write is, okay. Mm-hmm. But, you end up finding some of those diamonds in the rough and going back and looking at them and making some tweaks. And, as you progress as an artist and a songwriter, your ability gets better.
Right.
So, yeah, it's actually the song called You. And like I said, it's going to be on the my next upcoming album.
I had no idea about that. And my question is, though, give us a sneak peek. What's it about? Was it about a girl? Was it about an experience?
It actually is about a girl, and the girl is actually my current wife. And
right.
I actually dated my wife in middle school.
Wow.
And throughout high school, we stayed friends, and that's kind of when I started dabbling in songwriting. And of course, I was in band and choir throughout middle school and high school, and was always doing the music thing. And so that's kind of when I started writing, and it was actually about her.
Wow.
And so it kind of came full circle, and now we've been married over 12 years, and so I kind of brought it back to life and actually told her about it, a few months ago. I kind of presented the song to her, and she was like, oh, my gosh. And she was like, this is about me. And I was like, yeah, this is something I wrote years ago. So it's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be a great song on the album.
That's great. Now you talked about growing up and meeting her in high school. Tell us a little about where you're from.
Well, as I said, I'm a military brat, so I kind of grew up everywhere. But I'm actually from, up there where you're at.
That's right.
I was born in Attleboro, Mass. Mm-hmm. And, used to hang out in Central Hill.
That's my stomping ground, so we never met.
Yeah, I know, right? And I used to spend the summers, even though we moved, we lived in Rhode Island, too. We lived in Cranston.
Right.
And we ended up moving around, obviously, but I used to go back to Rhode Island almost every summer and spend it with my grandparents and everybody. My sister still lives in Providence, which is right around the corner from you, I know.
Right.
So, I'm from there. How you get country out of, what people would say, maybe I'm a Yankee, but, there's a lot of country music fans up there.
No, there are. There are.
Yeah, there is. And that's a cool thing to do. And hopefully we'll get up there soon. So, I'm not really, I always tell people when you're in the military, but it's hard to be from somewhere,
Right.
But I always try to get back home when I can. And hopefully this year we'll get up there to New England this year to play a show or two.
We're working on a few things, too, and I'd love to have you up here to, like I said, we spoke previously about maybe getting you up here, but I know you have a lot of fans up here that would love to see you. So hopefully over the summer or early fall, we can get you up here for a show. It'd be great.
Definitely want to get back up there, and a lot of friends and fans and family that definitely want to come out to a show. And it's always nice to get back home. And like I said, because all my family still lives up there, so It's pretty nice.
Right. Cool. Let me ask you about influences. Your musical influences, not even growing up, but who are your influences now and people that you look up to and like, looking at as far as, I don't want to use the word of what you model yourself after, but who are some of the people that influenced you to get where you were today in the music business?
Well, in the music business, as far as people who influence me, there's so many, and I hate to leave anybody out
Right.
because a lot of people have played such a major role in where I am today and where I continue to go. But, obviously my producer who I met in 2001 has been a friend of mine since then and a great mentor, Barry Best. My grandfather, I told you he was in the Air Force. My grandfather, who's passed away now, but he was a drummer for the Air Force Band.
Okay.
Wow. Back in the 1948 to 1960 something. So, he was probably my very first influence to music itself.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, it just kind of blossomed. And as I grew up, I listened to all kinds of music. People are usually surprised when they get on the tour bus and they might not hear country all the time. They'll hear something like AC/DC playing, or Brian McKnight. Right. I love all kinds of music, and I get influences from all kinds of different areas. Obviously, one of my idols is obviously Garth Brooks. Mm-hmm. People, usually tend to say, wow, you sound like Garth or whatever. And some people might get offended by that. But for me, if you compare me and say, wow, you kind of sound like Garth Brooks, to me, that's an honor.
Right.
Right. To sound like such a legend. I definitely don't try to mimic him, but I definitely love what he did with music and what he still does with music. He puts on a great show, and I think as an artist, you don't want to be just a great singer or just a great songwriter. To me, you want to be the package, and you want to be a great entertainer.
Right.
And to me, Garth Brooks embodied that.
Okay.
And so that kind of, I sort of, emulate him and follow what he did and just try to be true to the fans and always try to be myself, but those kind of people. I love Tracy Lawrence, Diamond Rio, Ricochet, Shenandoah, the country music, that kind of deal. I mean, I even love the new stuff. I love Luke Bryan's stuff,
Right.
Brentley Gilbert, obviously Florida Georgia Line. All these people have great stuff, and you kind of feed off what they're doing and try to get to where they're at.
Right. Well, that's cool. Well, let's talk about the CD again, about another song on Love, Life, and Memories. And we had a conversation about this, earlier in the week when we last spoke. There's a song on there called The Definition of Love. Tell us a little about that.
It was another great song that we put on the album. It actually is my wife's favorite song. And, I love everything on the album. Obviously, I'm biased. And it was again another song that was a great song, but it wasn't as popular as Honky Tonk Holiday when the album first hit. And throughout the process of getting on social media and now being on iTunes and Pandora and iHeartRadio and all those stations, we found out through Pandora that, Pandora gives you insights of who's listening to your music and how many spins you have and where your demographic is. And so we looked into it, and we just it hit 40,000 plays on Pandora in less than a year, which is super fantastic. So I encourage everybody to go to Pandora, listen to my station. But The Definition of Love was the most popular song played.
Wow.
And we were all just in shock. And as I was calling my management and calling our producer, and I was like, you won't believe what the most popular song being played right now is on Pandora. And everybody was guessing, had to be Honky Tonk Holiday or had to be Love Lives On because it won Country Song of the Year. And I was like, you're not even close. I was like, it's Definition of Love. So it ended up right now is probably one of the most popular songs on the album. And it's a great tune. And again, it's another one we love playing. It's a great upbeat song. And it's just always a shocker. But, you got to listen to your audience.
Right.
And
exactly.
If they love it, then guess what? We're going to keep playing it.
There you go. Well, we're going to play The Definition of Love right now. And then when they want to keep hearing it like they are, they can go right to your Pandora station to do that. But this is my man, Ryan Daniel, The Definition of Love, interviews with the Iceman.
teach in school. But the very first time I looked into your eyes, that was the moment I knew. Don't need higher education or a PhD. I only know what my heart's telling me. It's in every dictionary, just look it up. You're the definition of love. Starts with tenderness and devotion, the sweetest words ever spoken, the closest thing to heaven under the sun, and it ends with you're the one. Don't need higher education or a PhD. I only know what my heart's telling me. It's in every dictionary, just look it up. You're the definition of love. I'm a professor of the heart. All I need to read is written in the stars. Don't need higher education or a PhD. I only know what my heart's telling me. It's in every dictionary, just look it up. You're the definition of love. Don't need higher education or a PhD. I only know what my heart's telling me. It's in every dictionary, just look it up. You're the definition of love. It's in every dictionary, just look it up. You're the definition of love.
That's Ryan Daniel. We're talking to Ryan Daniel today. That is his song, The Definition of Love, man. Great having you. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to talk a few minutes, my man. It means a lot.
Never too busy for the Iceman.
Thank you. I got a question because of what you got going on and, how hard you're working. You know there's a lot of artists that listen into the station. Do you have any advice you can give them based on your experiences and how you have things going for you and things are going well? What kind of advice would you give your peers that are trying to make it happen in music?
Wow. If I had to narrow it down to one or two great pieces of advice, it'd have to be, your work ethic has to be just there. And no one's going to hand you your music career, whether it's country music or rock or anything. I found out through my experience that no one's going to hand it to you on a silver platter. And most people in the industry want to see that work ethic. They want to see that you're an artist that is not going to sit on their couch waiting for it to happen.
Right.
You have to go out there and open the doors yourself. And some of them might not open, and so you go to the next door. So, my first piece of advice really to any artist would be work hard. Your work ethic needs to be there. Work super hard every day at your craft and learning the business. Just don't be an artist and a songwriter. Learn the music business. I mean, that's why it's called the music business.
Right.
And learn that. And just work hard. And the other thing is, my dad always told me to surround yourself with people who are smarter than you. So I surround myself with great people and a great team. And that's kind of how, how I've been a little bit successful and how I continue to be successful. And the last probably thing that I will say to artists is don't burn bridges.
Right.
It's so, the word gets around so fast, in everybody thinks Nashville is this huge town, and maybe it is, but word gets around so fast.
Right.
And if you're hard to work with, or if you burn bridges on the way up, those same people that supported you in the very beginning, you need to remember those folks.
Right.
And I try to stay true to that, and I try to be a good friend to everybody, and I try to be honest with everybody, and that's how I stay successful. So don't burn bridges, on your way up in your career, and always thank those people continuously who continue to support you, your fans, your family, your friends, people like you who continue to support artists like us to get us out there.
Right. Well, great advice. I appreciate that. It's funny, with the music that you have in the CD, Love, Life, and Memories. We do a few songs in the interview, and I know that the Lies and Bruises one we're going to talk about in a few, man. That's the big one you got going on. It's so hard. It was so hard for me to narrow down songs to play in the interview because there's so many good ones. But I want to talk about one real quick because I know it means a lot to you, and that's your song, Unknown Soldier.
Yeah, The Unknown Soldier is obviously, again, probably my favorite on the album. It's kind of my tribute to our men and women of the military. And, let them know they're not forgotten. And we did a video to it. And just a great tune. It's just, I wanted to give something back to the military who gave so much to me. Even in my days of getting out, I was halfway to retirement, so to speak, and even my commanders were super supportive of me and knew that I was wanting to get in the music business, and it kind of encouraged me to go live my dream. And so it's just a song that we did, and crowds love it, and we obviously perform it, all the time, and I love performing it for military bases, and of course when I got to go overseas with the troops, it was such a great song to do overseas with them. And just not afraid, I'm one of those artists not afraid to tackle certain subjects. And it's one of those songs that, you're not forgotten. And I always want to support our men and women, with the cause of, we have PTSD that's running rampant right now, and TBI. And I'm always supportive of those organizations. Every year I do a show with Patriot Outreach Program who raises money for PTSD and TBI. So I'm definitely an artist who's not afraid to touch on delicate subjects.
Right. Well, with that being said, and before we talk about the big song that you have coming out, you mentioned about the different songs and some songs that they didn't hear on the interview. Where can the fans and listeners find you online, find your music? Let them know that.
Definitely. Obviously you can definitely find me on my website, which is ryandaniel.org. And you can listen to all the songs, and you can go to my store and buy the album. I've got shirts, and I've got my new hats out now. We're about to add koozies and all those things. So you can definitely go there and check me out. You can go to my Facebook, Ryan Daniel Facebook page. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Reverb Nation. And if you want to go to iTunes, you can download my songs. You can download the album on iTunes. You can go to CD Baby, Amazon, Rhapsody, Spotify. We're on all the social media stations, that you can go listen to my stuff at any time you want. And I encourage people, hopefully they'll come. And I'm still the one that answers, especially with Facebook and Twitter. That's me that's answering my fans back. So as long as I can continue to have the time to do that, I will always be the one that's answering my fans.
There you go. Okay, great. Now, and I'll tell you, we talked about this next thing for a while, and it was great to watch it finally get here and be released. This is Lies and Bruises. And for myself, and I don't know all about it, but for myself and the fans and the listeners, tell us about it. Tell us about Lies and Bruises and how it came along and just the whole process of getting to the release of the song where we're just about at.
Well, I ended up meeting a great songwriter, and he's going to continue to blossom, and he's going to be a mainstream guy. I know it. His name's Dwayne Moore.
Yes.
And you and me both obviously know him. And he is a friend of one of my managers, and he came up to Tennessee and wanted to meet me. And actually, we took him to a show that we did in Illinois. So he came on the road with us. And on the way back, he had mentioned he had a song that he had started writing, and it meant a lot to him and some friends of his in South Carolina. And he thought that, one, my voice would fit perfect for it, and he wanted to know if I'd be interested in doing the song Lies and Bruises. So he played me the demo, and I immediately fell in love with it. And then he told me the story about Lies and Bruises and about the concept of it, which is the song is about domestic violence.
Right.
And it's another subject that, again, I'm not afraid to touch on. I'm definitely against domestic violence, but it's running rampant across the United States and probably everywhere. And being that he's from South Carolina, actually South Carolina is like the #1 state for domestic violence.
Okay.
And he knows a lady there, and it kind of inspired him to do a song. Her daughter was killed last year through domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how the song came about. And so it had a lot of depth and a lot of meaning. And for me personally, I felt the song. And so we got together with Dwayne and Barry and Prevo Johnson, Prevo Rogers,
right,
and Josh Owens. And we all got together and kind of co-wrote together and kind of made the song what it is and what you're about to hear. And, it ended up being, for me, it was a godsend. It really was. And I think it was just the exact song we needed. And I think it's the exact song that America needs. And again, it's a subject I'm not afraid to touch on.
Right.
And so we got it recorded. And of course, Stringer Performance came on board with Doug and them, who really made it happen because, they funded it. And so we went to the studio in Nashville, got to work with some great studio musicians. Rich Herring from Little River Band is playing guitar on it, and he also engineered and mixed it for us. We were up at World Studios there in Nashville at his studio, and just had a great time recording it, and so proud that Dwayne and all the people involved with the Lives and Bruises deal thought of me as an artist that could really make this song popular. And that's what we're going to do with it. We're going to run with it. We're getting the song to nomore.org. We're getting it to Mary Kay.
Right.
Obviously, we're getting it on the radio with the Iceman.
Right.
And we're fixing to put it out to country radio all across the United States. We're planning a radio tour with it, and just a lot of exciting things coming up. And people will be able to go to the website and watch all the posts and the Facebooks
right,
about what we're going to do with the song.
Right. And I'll tell you, brother, and from day one when you said it, it means a lot to be the first one to play this song. I mean, and I thank you and Prevo and Dwayne, who I know, and even Barry, who I've never met. I mean, it does mean a lot to let me do this, especially this type of song and the circumstances around it. So I want to thank you and the rest of the guys for allowing not only myself to play it first, but my listeners to be first to hear it.
I appreciate it. Yeah, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
I love the Iceman and what you do for all of us artists. It's just you're exactly what we talked about earlier. You're the same way that I am. You don't burn bridges,
right? And
you're an honest guy, and you help artists out, and you're about the music,
yes,
and you're about the artist.
Thank you.
And that's rare in this business.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it. It means a lot to hear that, especially from someone like you. And Ryan, before we go into the song, once again, I want to thank you for taking the time and talking to myself, letting the listeners hear. It means a lot for you to take time to do that. And once again, thank you for letting this song be heard first here. Best of luck to you. I can't wait to meet up with you again. And the best to you. Keep doing what you're doing. You're going to be out there big, and this song is also going to be a hit. So I want to thank you again.
Cool. Thank you very much. I appreciate the Iceman. Appreciate what you do, and we'll be around. You know that.
You got that. Well, right now, without further ado, the world premiere, you can't hear it anywhere else unless you go to Ryan's house and knock on his door, and he's not going to let you in anyway. This is Lies and Bruises world premiere with the Iceman.
Can't believe I'm standing here all alone, looking down at your name written in stone. You don't know how bad that I wish it was true. When he smiled and said he'd never hurt you. Your mama called me at the house and I couldn't believe. And I cried, oh God, as I fell to my knees. Why can't we see how everybody loses when someone confuses love with lies lies and bruises. And I damn sure do anything to have you back here again. It's so hard to believe how we lied and took your life away. And he's left us all here to live with nothing more than just these memories and tears. Girl, you just gotta know that something ain't right when a man tries to control you with fear and fright. Don't let him play no tricks with your mind. If he hits you once, girl, it won't be the last time. So now I beg you, you gotta run, please don't stay. Find those people who are strong enough to help you get away. So I pray you can see how everybody loses when someone confuses love with lies and bruises. And I damn sure do anything to have you back here again. It's so hard to believe how we lied and took your life away. And he's left us all here to live with nothing more than just these memories and tears. And I damn sure do anything to have you back here again. It's so hard to believe how we lied, took your life away. And it's left us all here to live with nothing more, just these memories and tears. Why can't we see how everybody loses when someone confuses love with lies and bruises?